I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. This is very humbling, and no, I am not going to walk away from this. I love this city, and we need to take it back. And so I'm going to tell you what, somebody asked me this earlier, if I become the mayor, are we going to reinstate 5 minutes of public comment? And I said, yes, we are not only going to reinstate 5 minutes of public comment. I said, when everybody's done talking, I'm going to say, is there anybody else out there that has something they would like to share? I mean, Randy Penn used to do that, and there's no reason that we can't. And there's one other thing that I'm going to tell you right now. You know that little disclaimer that the mayor reads all the time? You are expected to speak to us in respectable terms. You will never hear that out of my mouth, because my mother always taught me, you treat people with dignity and respect, they will treat you with dignity and respect back. And so if I have to say anything, this is what I'm going to say. It is expected that City Council will treat every citizen here with dignity and respect, and you will listen to what they have to say. So, yes, I'm not going to stop you from clapping, nor am I going to threaten the police to take you out. So, everything that has been shared already is really disheartening. And the current city council believes, actually, Bob McCaslin put it into words before I ever got on council. And he told the crowd one night, why don't you all go home and let us do our business? You know what? You all are the business of the city. And I want to thank you all for coming out, and especially Kathy, and there were others that walked and got these ballot initiatives passed. If you wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. And I'm going to tell you, I know a lot of you in here, maybe some of you don't. I probably should go back and I'll talk a little bit about myself. My folks moved to Englewood when I was 5 years old. I grew up down here in the 3900 block of South Inca until I was in 5th grade. Then my folks moved up on Washington. And I have actually lived in every district in the city except for District 1. I grew up in District 3, both here on Inca and up on Washington. Our first home we owned was in District 4 over on West Shenango, just close to Federal. And then we live now over at Dartmouth and University, and we've lived there 30 years. And I intend to stay there, and that is one of the main reasons I'm running for City Council. I want this city cleaned up so it'll be a place I'm proud to stay and proud to retire in. And Englewood is my home, it's my hometown, and when I've kind of been thinking about the last 4 years moving, and I'm thinking, where would I go? All my friends are here, and all my new friends are here, and I intend to be here for a good long time, and I intend to help turn things around. I just want to say one thing. I consider it a great honor and privilege to run for the office of mayor, but just getting the position of mayor will not fix the problems in Englewood. We have got to have control of the city council, and that means 4 members, and I believe this is the first time we've had really strong members and a strong plan. We need Rebecca Kramer in District 2 and Kim Wright in District 4, along with myself. And when I become the mayor, my seat will be vacant, and we have a plan for that seat also. And so I'm telling you, I believe we can take back city council. And the reason this is important, and I've looked at things, I am very concerned about once we get control, I think we might be broke. And that concerns me, but I believe, and I've said this almost every magazine article I've written since I've been on council, we need to stick together as a community and work together, and we'll get through this, whatever is going on. And so some of my concerns, one of them is responsible growth. We need to protect our neighborhoods from excessive overdevelopment and strain on our infrastructure. I will tell you, I gave this elevator speech, pretty much what I got tonight. I've shared different things, but when I was preparing yesterday afternoon to speak, I really hadn't thought about this, and all of a sudden I thought, what if Nathaniel speaks before I do? And I thought, I have to put a couple things in here to take the wind out of Nathaniel before he speaks, and so I said this. The voting majority on the current city council has agreed with the state legislature to overrule our long-standing zoning codes and allow multi-unit housing in R1 residential areas. And that's where we were. And also I said affordable housing. Although there is talk about building affordable housing, during the tenure of Mayor Sierra, the relatively affordable housing we have had has been torn down and replaced with duplexes that sell for $1.3 to $1.5 million. Even the apartment complexes are not affordable. And all of us in this room, and this was last night, are old enough to know that during high inflationary periods, you cannot build affordable housing. And really, cities can't do that anyway. The only thing cities can do is subsidize housing to make it affordable, and we don't have the money to subsidize housing. And about a month ago, you know how, I don't know if you do this, but you just kind of tolerate things that are going on in the city, and you just turn a blind eye, and you know, you don't even realize this is happening. And so I had a town hall meeting about a month ago, and a lot of you were there. What I realized when the developers came to the study session before we actually voted to remove the ground lease, and they said, they presented that night that they wanted to build a medium density 3 to 4 story apartment house in that area. And I said to the developers that night at the study session, I said, you know, in all the executive sessions that we've had, and executive sessions are where council goes in with the developer to negotiate things behind the purview of the public. So none of you know that, what's really going on in those meetings. And I said, every time we've talked about ground floor retail, and the developer actually said, we don't want another failed project. And all of a sudden, the light bulb turned on to me, because we've been getting rid of our retail areas. Even like Kimco, where Hobby Lobby was, they came 6 months before that, and they're going to tear down the retail shopping center there because they can't get an anchor store in there. After Hobby Lobby left, they couldn't get another anchor store. And I just said to them when they came, I said, you know what concerns me? Where are we going to shop in Englewood? Where are we going to buy anything? And the owner of Kimco agreed. He goes, I know, you know, but they're all into making money. That's why they were closing it. Then the developer says, we don't want any more failed projects. And I thought, okay, so what that means is we are no longer going to build retail. We're going to build apartment houses to activate the areas to reduce the crime rate. And so there is more than one way to activate an area. You do not have to build apartment houses and move people in. You can activate the area by bringing people in to shop or do entertainment in our in our really Cinderella City. Right now, probably big box retail is not going to come back, but all of the light rail areas along the light rail corridor are already fully developed. We're the last one, and we want to do the same thing they're doing. And I've said this a couple of times in stakeholder meetings. Why don't we get a national attraction and get people coming from all over the United States into this area, or even all over the Denver metro area, to, if you have a national attraction, it will naturally attract attract restaurants, little shops where people can shop. And I said, then actually, you know, and I think Rita probably has heard this in the past about we need a hotel in Englewood. Well, that's what all the developers, when they come to show you their pretty pictures, they promise that they're going to build a hotel. And I actually had to tell Councilmember Wright, that's not real. That's just to get us to approve what they want to do. But if we had a national attraction that would attract people to come here just for that, people would stay in a hotel there. But there's two things that have to happen. We have got to clean up the crime rate. And interestingly enough, when at that last town hall meeting that I had, I was talking about the crime rate. The very next day, the city manager sent the new chief of police over to the Malley Center to present the opening of the senior symposium, and he just touted how much the crime rate is down. 77% on fraud, and just, you know, 50% on all of this stuff. Listen, crime rate figures can be adjusted. You don't have to fill out reports, and then the crime rate is less too. So they did that. Then I asked about it at the next council meeting, and they gave us the same report. And I just said to the city manager, if the crime rate is down so far, why haven't you gone over and told Walmart they can unlock all of their merchandise? And so we see those things happening. And I mean, some of the business owners that have restaurants have said, I mean, was at Chula's, a homeless person came in and they were probably high on fentanyl, went over to a table, leaned over, there was a family sitting there, started screaming. And the waitress said, I'm calling the police. She called the police, but the guy left just before the police got there. But the family got up and walked out. And I can guarantee you that family will never darken the door of that restaurant again. And if we don't clean up the crime in Englewood, we are destroying ourselves. And I did talk to the chief of police. This was after that, and I said, can we clean it up? So he kind of explained how this worked, that, you know, the people have to get upset enough, and then they have to start complaining to their council members. You already are complaining, but your council members aren't listening. And so the solution to this problem is we need people that will listen to you and people that will stand together. So I just, I want to end with this. I am running for mayor because our city needs decisive leadership, a clear plan, and officials who put residents first. I am that leader, and I'm asking you to not only vote for me for mayor, I want you to talk to other people in your neighborhood about the three of us, not just me, but also about Rebecca and about Kim, and we need to take this city back. And I just want to thank you all for coming out tonight, and I just want to share too, it is very expensive, and I know that plan, if anybody wants to make a contribution, I've got envelopes too, and all of you who've already contributed, I greatly appreciate all your help. And so we are going to take this city back. So thank you all for coming.